7:01, we'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, 7:01 on the, okay, you got it. Our clerk will be absent and excused this evening, so in her absence, would someone be willing to nominate and serve, and/or serve?
I nominate Treasurer Rice.
Support.
We have a motion by Smith, support by Brown. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to appoint Treasurer Rice as clerk this evening, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Treasurer Rice.
Not a problem.
Would you be willing to do a roll call of the board, please?
Sure. All right, Trustee Thering.
Here.
Trustee Brown.
Here.
Trustee Bills.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Treasurer Rice here. Supervisor Milky.
Here.
And Clerk Cody is excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Super light agenda tonight, but I'm
I
happy
move to approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion by Bills, support by Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agendas passes unanimously. We have no presentations tonight, but we do have a public hearing regarding Fox Meadows. This is the first of two, if I have my count correct. And with that, Mr. Stuhldreher, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I do not.
Okay. We will open up public hearing at 7:03 p.m. and happy to hear from anyone and/or trustees.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I also want to thank each and every one of you for your service to your community and serving as trustees on Union Township's Township Board. We really appreciate it. It's a great community. I've lived here my whole life. I'm Kurt Feit, lifelong resident of Mount Pleasant. I live at 3213 Brittany Drive, and I am the HOA Association president for Fox Meadow Homeowners Association. And I've served at that capacity for over 20 years. With me tonight is Rick Bars. He'll be making some comments as well. Fox Meadow, if you're not aware, was developed in the 1990s. Probably started in the 94, 95 from some developers in the area. Tom Myers, Doug Schutte, and Daryl Herbrook were involved in the development of it. So the subdivision has been around for close to over 30 years. Over that time, in our association, just for you to know, is made up of 42 property owners within the boundaries of the covenants of Fox Meadow. And it was built in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. I'm in phase 2. My wife and I built our home in 1997, moved in, and we've been a resident there ever since. I believe Rick and Mary moved in about the same time. Yeah, correct. So after we moved in, about in 2006, we noticed the deterioration of the roads in the subdivision. And we took it upon ourselves to petition the township to do a special assessment back then, which happened in 2007. We had the neighborhood come, we went around, petitioned the neighbors, everyone agreed, we'd like to have a nice neighborhood with nice roads, keep our property values. Now, the tax assessor's not in here, right? Keep our property values in our neighborhood looking very nice. So we passed that special assessment back in 2007, redid all the roads. Then over the course of from 2007 to today's present time, we actually took it upon ourselves as an association to maintain those roads. Rick, through his connections, found when sealing was being done for local roads, and we approached the township, I believe in the road commission, to get the better rate, and we actually paid for that through our own funds at the association. So we've been maintaining the roads within our subdivision through our money through the association. Well, we're now at the point where the roads have deteriorated so bad and there's so many cracks through it that we need to do something about it, or they're just gonna get to the point where it's gonna cost a lot of money to fix them. And so our board of directors for the Fox Meadow Homeowners Association put out a task force, which included Rick Bars, to explore how we could do this and do a special assessment. Rick has been working on this very diligently, and what we determined was that the roads needed to be repaired, and so then we petitioned our neighbors, and we got overwhelming support to levy a special assessment against ourselves to upgrade the roads. And that is where we stand today. Our neighborhood association, the Fox Meadows Homeowners Association, which I'm the president of, has unanimously voted to support this. So we are taking upon ourselves to maintain our neighborhood and our roads. Now, moving forward into the future, the township is going to need to ask themselves, how are we going to do this? I mean, because we maintain those roads ourselves through our own funds from 2007 until current date by doing the sealing and so forth. So that's where we're at today. We support it, our neighborhood supports it, our homeowners association supports it. So we're asking the board to move forward and support us as well. Are there any questions that you have?
Sounds good. Good presentation.
Oh, wait till you hear Rick.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fight.
You're very welcome.
I'm Rick Bars, 1110 Meadow Drive, and I'm also in the Fox Meadow subdivision. And I was a person that's retired, that has all the time on my hands, that Kurt hired for nothing to run the petition and kind of look over the subdivision, the roads. And matter of fact, I pick flowers and I do everything else that he wants me to do. And he still owes me. But,
Yeah, you're right.
it wasn't too long ago, I think last fall, and I made a proposal. I actually made a kind of informal proposal. I have you guys suggesting that maybe what could you guys do to help us, our subdivision. And I also mentioned at the same time, that's not going to be just our subdivision. There's other subdivisions. Whatever you do for us, you got to do it for everybody else. And I know there's priorities, there's budgets, there's everything else. And I know that it probably didn't go very far, and I understand. But one of the things I want you to do is just to reevaluate, and I don't mean right now or tonight or next week or whatever, reevaluate this whole concept. And part of it has a reason is if you live in, the kind of the beef I have, it's not with you, but with the whole concept, is that if you live in a subdivision like us, we take care of Kurt said we have to pay for all the maintenance of crack seals, whatever. We have to do all that. If you live on a road in the township, like just on Crawford Road, River Road, and that's all repaved, you bear no expense. So we have to bear our own expense for our own roads. And so at this point, I want, I don't, there's a fairness issue with that. Something's just not right. Why do we have to take care of everything ourselves? And we all have the county road commission. The county road commission plows our streets as they do every street in the township or in the county. And I know that when you do the work with the streets outside of our subdivision, the township works with I measure their capital budget plan and works with the town. The road commission gets together and you decide what road needs and you set priorities up or whatever. And one of the things I wanted you to think about is a priority, and I passed out a map. And this is called a Pazer map. This is prepared by the Isabella County Road Commission. And honest to God, you're not going to be able to look at it and understand it right now, but if you take it back, take a look at it, the city is inside here, okay? And if you can kind of take a look at some of the locations in the city, or outside the city, that's where you're responsible. That's your jurisdiction. And this map goes from Pazer 1 to a Pazer 10, 10 being the best. And if you take a look, Fox Meadows, actually, I can just point it out here, right at the, you see a little yellow with a black dot. We're Pacer 6, which means, you know, 10's really good. That would be like, Carriage Hills just did their road, that would be a 9 or 10 or somewhere in that range. But if we're a Pacer 6 and we have to repair our roads the way we are, we're not talking about crack seal, we gotta tear it out, not tear it out. We can mill it and fill it, that's what we're gonna do. If we're Pacer 6, and you look around look at all the yellows and you look at all the reds, this township's got a major issue with a lot of their subdivisions, or a lot of the subdivisions, because they aren't keeping up with it. And you have, like I said, you got a lot of reds, and if you wanna go for a drive sometime, which I hope you do, look at the subdivisions. You know, I just went down the other day, I was driving down Lincoln, I just got into Seaman Drive, and there is no street hardly anymore. That's a 10, it's gone. And I don't know, those people eventually have to face up to it. But it's gonna be a problem in a lot of your subdivisions. And I know that's one of the things that I want you to consider, like, what do you know, we're trying to do our own, you know, we'd always look for help in this, but you also have an issue within the entire township. So, again, my suggestion is take a serious look look at what's going on, and maybe take a look at it before the costs are prohibitive. Because right now, we started this last year, we got a quote from Central Asphalt to mill and fill. It was $82,000 direct cost. This year, working with Kim and getting this whole thing, it's $102. It's 20% increase. And at Pacer 6, if you go on a subdivision, it doesn't look too bad, you know. But ours is probably a little bit nicer, but we also knew that it's not gonna get any cheaper. You know, are we gonna bite the bullet now? Because we could wait a couple, 2, 3 years. They said we'll have potholes, then we're probably gonna tear the whole street out. Instead of paying $102,000 direct costs, it might be, I don't know what it's gonna be. Kim will probably tell you, but I bet you it's closer to $200,000 to $300,000. And then you're gonna have a lot of screaming residents, you know, but we're not doing it, we're taking care of it, okay? The only other thing I also wanna mention is, we worked with Kim, and I'll tell you what, this whole process, this is new to me. It's quite involved, and working with Kim, she's made it easy, because it requires a tremendous amount of communication. And the communication I get back from her constantly gives me an update on what's going on. And I tell you, we totally appreciate it, so I want to give Kim a big thank you for that. So that's pretty much all I have. Just like, if anybody has any questions, anything specific, I'd be glad to answer for you.
I mean, I think that you're right, there's a lot of red here. And I'm only a one-term board member, so.
I'll vote for you.
Thanks. I'm not running though, again.
Not either.
Right.
But anyway, so I mean, it's been that way since I got here, and I bet it's gonna be that way for some time.
Oh, I hope not.
Well, you see what Isabella County's going through,
Oh, I know.
from overextension.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna happen here.
No.
We're pretty conservative.
No, and I also read your budget, and you're doing a very good job.
Thank
so,
you.
Yeah.
That's good. Can I make one comment in here? It's funny how this whole process has changed in 17 years.
Yeah.
When we levied the assessment on ourselves before, we went around with a petition, got, over 50% of the neighbors, brought it into the township. It was presented, there were no hearings, there were no anything, it was just levied, we paid it, and we moved on. And I was really surprised when Rick was telling me, I said, well, wow, this is really unusual, because what we did back in 2007 was nothing compared to what it is today. And I don't know if that's because of the legal environment and things that have changed as far as public awareness of hearings and so forth, but I'm assuming that that's what it is. So I appreciate too, Kim, all the things that you're doing and helping us through these steps, but it's amazing to me, going through this before, how it has changed and stuff. So I like simplicity.
Yeah.
But
I don't know the exact dates, but state law changed regarding because an assessment district is a form of tax. And so they said this has to be a very open, deliberate process. And so that changed, I don't know what the year was, but it was shortly after 2007, I believe, in that neighborhood.
Thank you, Brian.
So we are only putting you through this because we have to.
I totally get it.
Right.
I thought, that in my back of my mind, I said, something has changed, and it's probably from a legal standpoint.
And you were right, yes.
He didn't tell me that,
No, I didn't, that's why I said,
but it's been good.
thank you, Rick.
Anybody have any other questions?
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have anybody
There's nobody.
virtual? We'll have an opportunity to talk about this as a board later, but I don't want to close the public hearing if trustees want to jump in.
I'm all set.
Not at this point.
So we'll close the public hearing at 7:17 PM. That brings us to public comment. Public comment is restricted to 3 minutes regarding items on this agenda. If you choose to address the public, please state your name and address for the record. And with that, we'll open up a public comment at 7:17 PM. I'm guessing you're all spent now. And
Still no one.
still no one. So seeing no one coming forward, let the record show no one was attending virtually. We'll close public comment at 7:17 PM.
18.
Oh, just turned to 18. Thank you. That brings us to item 9 on the agenda, current boards and comments. Item A, we are full at this point. Anything there? Board member reports. Trustee Thering.
None tonight.
Clerk Cody is out this evening. She'd probably say it if she was here. She's doing a election training on Friday, and I don't know what group that's with, but Trustee Brown?
Mount Pleasant City Commission meets next week. It's the way the calendar laid in this month, so.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. See ya.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm
Trust-
all set.
Trustee Smith?
At the county meeting last night, a couple small things. One of them was that it's in the paper that they were going to purchase an unmanned aerial vehicle, which is going to not only help locate missing persons, fleeing and looting, and also, but I didn't think about it, is like when they have crashes and they have to GPS all the locations and get everything done, they can have this go over, and it will significantly reduce the time in which the road will be closed down and be more of an accurate view. So everything will be GPS point through an unmanned aerial thing like that. So they got the money from their insurance carrier and other local donors. So they were quite excited about that. And then just a little bit of interesting, they passed a proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Month, and an individual from Abate, Michigan, Region 21, came up, was going through stuff. And this is one thing that I wrote down that was really interesting. Most crashes on motorcycles occur in the 35 to 45 mile an hour speed zones. It's not your 55 and over, it's your 35 to 45. I thought that was interesting. Another thing that he said, grass clippings. Grass clippings on road, he'd rather drive on ice than grass clippings. It's that bad. And so I thought those two little things were very interesting, and just kind of get the word out. Anybody watching this, grass clippings and 35 to 45 is your danger zone for motorcyclists. So that's it from the county.
Just a note, I have noticed in some communities, they have signs actually that tell you, don't put your grass clippings out towards the road for that very reason.
Yeah.
And that's where I first learned about it, was the road signs that.
Yes. Yeah. Yep, so that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Treasurer Rice?
I'm good.
And I don't think I have anything tonight. We do have a intergovernmental liaison meeting.
Yes.
I will be
22nd.
on a plane at that point, so I won't be there. So it's
Okay.
all on you. We've not put together an agenda yet,
Oh, that's
correct?
hilarious.
That's correct. You can expect, all the members can expect outreach from Ms. Green Monday, I think. Calling for agenda items due back by that Friday, and then the meeting's the 22nd. And you're on our distribution list, Trustee Bills, so
So if there's something.
don't worry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. if there's something specific that you feel we need to communicate, jump in on that.
I've never been to one of these meetings. I don't even, are they available to be watched, previous ones, or?
No, they're not. They're not taped. They're not
Yeah,
a formal public meeting.
okay. I'm excited about it.
Well, good.
I'm a newbie on this one, so, you know,
I'm sure they'll take it easy on you.
I hope so.
Well, sorry to put it all on you. You know, Mark, you'll be there, right?
Yep.
So, two of you.
Put it on Mark. Mark will do a great job. Always does.
And you and I will be in touch the week that
Okay.
we're looking for
Oh,
agenda
excellent.
items, and
Thank you, sir.
I'll call you or something.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 10 on the agenda, consent agenda. Happy to entertain any motions, and who had warrants?
I had warrants and they were all good. I'll make the motion to approve.
Support?
Motion by Smith, support by Bills to approve consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes unanimously. That brings us to our single business item. Follow up on our public hearing, the Fox Meadows Estates 1 and 2, I guess. Special Assessment District. Mr. Stuhldreher, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I'll just make a couple comments just to get you orientated. There's a staff report that begins on page 19 of your agenda packet. The board in prior meetings has approved 2 resolutions related to this related to forming this special assessment district. This is resolution number 3 that's in front of you tonight. It's describing the improvements and making a determination, if approved, to complete the improvements, approves the plans and cost estimates as presented to date, designates the boundaries of the proposed district. It confirms some of the things that you've already approved, sufficiency of the prior petitions that were circulated. It does specify the amount of improvement cost to be paid by the township, if any, and right now there are none per your policies. And there are several other steps still to go. There'll be an additional public hearing, 2 more resolutions before this thing is all nailed down. A couple items that are in some of these future resolutions have to do with the term of the special assessment, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. The interest rate would be approved in a future resolution. So, and this resolution also just to point out on page 23 of the resolution, item number 8, it does direct the township staff to obtain a final bid cost from the road commission for the completion of the assessment or for the completion of the improvement. So the point of these last few comments is tonight you're just continuing the process. You're not finalizing anything. There's time to turn the whole thing away or, make other decisions as the board may deem appropriate. So with that, I have no other comments. Be happy to answer any questions.
Trustee Bills?
Yeah, with the final bid, then it's already gone up 20% in a few months. So if it's significantly higher, do they have to go back and get signatures again, or they just?
No, we don't. We did, as part of the communication that I think Mr. Bars was talking about, we did recognize that, Ms. Smith, that the estimates that were provided in December, I think it was December, versus April, have gone up quite a bit. So we reached out to Mr. Bars and to ask if he wanted to continue this, and he did. But there are no more formal petition gatherings, those kind of things.
Thank you.
And Ms. Smith, do you have anything to add to any of that?
I'll just add, I don't expect the cost to go up at this point because the road commission has all of their pricing for this year.
Oh,
Sometimes what happens is maybe that's, the step before happens in one year, and then this happens in the next year, and they get their prices in the spring for like asphalt and
Right.
that type of thing, so. But these are both happening in the same calendar year, so I don't expect it to go up. I'll send the road commission an email, and I expect they'll say it's the same.
yeah.
I would
all
be
right.
surprised. I can't guarantee you, but I'd be surprised.
Well, you're a specialist on that stuff, so.
So since, if I was a homeowner there, the most important thing ultimately is the bottom line. What do I have to pay, right? And as we get that final bid, is the workflow in this process such that we have to have that final bid prior to the second public hearing, or is that, okay?
There's specific steps in how you do that, and yes, you have to ask for the final bid, and then you move on to setting the date for the public hearing, just like we did at the last
Right.
meeting. And then you have to have a public hearing, and you have to notice that. You have so many days, it's 10 days, it has to be published twice in the paper, you have to send all of the residents a notice of the public hearing. We did that after the last, when you voted to have it tonight, we sent everybody in the subdivision a notice. And then it was published twice in the newspaper. And it's a quick turnaround because you have to have it published twice, so you pretty much when you're gonna have a public hearing, you have to have everything ready the next day, so that you can get it out in time and you can get it in the paper and give yourself sufficient time.
Yeah, I guess my question really was geared towards, we will have a public hearing once they know final numbers, which was,
Yeah.
yeah. Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Perfect.
Make a motion adoption of the Fox Meadows Estates and Fox Meadows Estates 2 subdivision special assessment district resolution number 3 for the establishment of paving special assessment district.
Support.
Motion by Brown, support by Bills. Further discussion? I so wanted to respond during our public hearing with regards to how some of this works. So I will, if it's okay, I'll reach out to Mr. Bars and kind of explain some of the questions I think they had.
Well, I mean, I think everybody would like to have their road paved, but these are private roads, right? So,
Well, they're not.
I don't
mean,
think they're private.
It's the county road commission has the latitude to choose, just
Okay.
like we have 83 counties in Michigan. Each road commission sets a different price on how much they require, for example, the townships to kick in.
okay.
So our road commission's 50. Some county road commissions, it's much worse, harder on the townships, and some it's better. I was always kind of surprised by that.
And I look at the map here, and I'm not sure if I'm getting off topic a little bit, but you look at all the red, there's a lot of them that are on main roads. So it's not only an aesthetic and property value, it's a safety issue. So we need to focus on, if all of our other roads were 7 and higher, and we had no safety issues or anything like that, then yeah, maybe consider something helping out. But until we can get everything up to a higher PASER rating, I don't know. I would like it for my subdivision too, because I know in the next year or two, mine's a 4.
Yeah,
So-
that's mine too.
And guess what? I'm president of the homeowners association in my area, so guess what? I'm gonna have to come in front of you, and so that's gonna be a lot more in there. But yeah, I'm a 4 in there, and so I know it's gonna be really expensive. So I
Yeah.
would like to, but that's my 2 cents.
We've had discussions on the planning commission about this just recently. I think that's nice to know exactly who is responsible. That doesn't mean that they can do it like you're saying. You got to prioritize. I mean, obviously your main roads have to be taken care of. But if it truly is the responsibility of the road commission, and you can't pay for something you don't have the money for, and stop me if I'm wrong, eventually if the subdivision said, we'll just let it go, and it does become a safety issue, does that force their hand to replace it or repair it?
Little background. Every public road in the township, whether it's a local road, a Lincoln Road, or a subdivision road, if it's a public road, it's owned by the road commission. And as such, they have ultimate responsibility for these things. And and that's true in the whole county. The trouble is they don't have enough money to do all these roads at levels that people want. And so what you traditionally see, and some counties are a lot better than the others, is a township and the road commission cost share for improvements and maintenance to these roads. And when I say maintenance, I don't mean snow plowing, I mean the crack sealing and the repaving and that kind of thing. And the reason the townships cost share is because the residents are here, they have pressure to do it, and you can only say, well, it's the road commission's problem for so long. So if you want to get something done, you need to be willing to cost share. And then on top of that, although I've never seen it in writing, the Isabella County Road Commission has a policy of not using road commission funds to maintain, crack seal, repave roads that are in subdivisions. And Union Township is kind of, over the years, kind of piggybacked on that. It makes sense. Therefore, the only then remaining funding mechanism is the special assessment. The special assessments can be citizen-initiated or board of trustee initiated. And Union Township is traditionally waited until the citizens have initiated the process. In response to some of the questions about cost sharing, in 2020, the Board of Trustees adopted a policy where the staff time, I'll call it the administrative costs, of helping shepherd this through the process, that we pay for that. That's not part of the costs that are part of the total special assessment. And so that was a nod, if you will, to the question, the issue. And so that's where we are. A subdivision that, and it could be true, I think, for any road, other than maybe certain designated roads, but the road commission would be within their right to let that road in that subdivision deteriorate to such a degree, and if the township wasn't going to pay to fix it and the road commission wasn't going to pay to fix it, they just turn it back into a gravel road. And that has happened in counties throughout the state. Roads are going back to
Wow.
gravel roads because of funding. So that's kind of the high level picture of this whole thing. The township would be within its right to change your policy on the cost sharing. You could be within your rights and statutes to initiate special assessments. And when I say initiate, it's basically putting them into place unless specific action is taken by the voters to stop the process. So that's kind of the big picture.
Interesting.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna reference the planning commission to listen, go back and listen to what you just said, cause that was, and I have no issue with the road commission whatsoever. I'm just trying to understand. Our discussion was just, we kinda were just, like we were today, just talking, and that was a very good,
My comments
Discussion.
do not apply to private roads.
right.
That's
No,
a different
right.
animal. And
Right.
I've watched the planning commission.
Yeah.
There's a lot of confusion in the dialogue between
Well, we
what's
did
going on
get
between
got
public and
sidetracked.
private and all
Yeah.
that jazz.
Yeah, we got sidetracked and we were just asking questions, knowing that it had nothing to do with the ordinance. It was just kind of an off to the side.
And in fact, a large reason for many townships to become cities has often been about the roads. You become a city, you then own the roads, and then you have control over the roads. You're not dealing with the road commission anymore. And you then begin to receive a portion of the Act 51 monies, which is the monies that we all pay at the gas pumps that eventually flow to roads. Still not enough for all the work that needs to be done, but you own the roads, you're also going to be snow plowing them, and doing all the maintenance. So,
And just a note, were you done?
yeah.
Just a note, I mean, the internal costs, because I had asked about this at a meeting prior, do we want to entertain looking at subsidizing this further? And what the response I heard back was, we're now, that 2020 policy change, we're now covering those internal costs. And based on what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but it may be about 10% of the total project, which is pretty generous, I think. Is that accurate statement?
I mean, right now
From what
it's
you
up to
anticipate?
$4,500, and there's still hours of Ms. Smith's time to put into it, and some other folks probably, that is not being, that the rest of the taxpayers in the township are paying for, as it relates to that subdivision.
All right.
Any other discussion? We do have a motion on the floor.
Yes, we do.
Let's call the vote.
Call the vote?
Yep.
Would you do a roll call of the board, please? Everybody's clear on the motion?
Yes.
Yes. All right, Supervisor Milky,
Yes.
Trustee Bills,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Thering,
Yes.
Treasurer Rice, yes. All yes.
Motion passes
Motion's
unanimously. That brings us to item 12 on the agenda, extended public comment. Extended public comments restricted to 5 minutes regarding any issue. If you choose to address the public, please state your name and address for the record. We'll open up extended public comment at 7:40 p.m.
There's nobody online.
Let the record show nobody was here remotely. Seeing no one left here for coming forward, we'll close extended public comment at 7:40 p.m. That brings us to item 13, manager's comments. Mr. Stuhldreher?
Thank you. Thank you. I have just a couple. I wanted to first thank Director Rodney Nanny. He stood in for me as acting township manager last week. Did a fine job, and so I want to publicly thank him. And then I also wanted to get a sense from the board whether or not the board wanted me to send a letter of support for a couple bills that are budget related, specifically the ones that are related to revenue sharing. Currently, according to the MTA, 12% of townships receive revenue sharing. And I'm talking about the statutory revenue sharing now. We are one that does. The budget bills that are on the floor right now would increase that so that all townships would receive some amount of statutory revenue sharing. And also it has a piece in it where it's creating a trust fund at the state level where this statutory money would go into, so that it wouldn't be able to be taken by the state when they run into budget problems, which is what they often do. There's a constitutional piece and a statutory piece to revenue sharing. They can't touch the constitutional piece. They can do all kind of things with the statutory piece. 10 years ago, the state was in a lot of financial difficulties. They really cut local revenue sharing, and with the money that exists today and over the last few years, they're talking about reinstating some of that money that was lost over the last decade. And MTA is looking for support, and I just wanted to touch base with the board to see if there was any objection to me writing a quick letter to whoever I'd write it to in support of their House Bills 5516 and Senate Bill 760. And they're before the respective House and Senate this week.
Oh, I think it would be great. I don't know why some townships didn't get sharing anyway. That doesn't make any sense to me. So,
I mean, look what the county's going through.
exactly.
And it's not going to decrease our share, it's just increasing the overall pot for everyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a rather complicated formula. It's
Yeah.
3 pieces. One part's tax base, one part's population, and I don't know what the other part is.
I would support it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I'll
Unanimous.
send something out.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the last thing is, I do want to, as a courtesy, inform the board that I have changed the reporting structure for the township assessor. Township assessor exists within the finance department and has been reporting to the finance director since about a year after I got here. And I've changed that, and I'm now having the assessor report to the township manager. And I informed the finance director of that change yesterday, and then informed the assessor with the finance director present today, and sent out a note to the organization of this change. And so I'm informing you all tonight.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate the update.
That makes
Thank
sense.
you.
Thank you.
I think it
That's
makes
all
sense.
I have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Final board member comment? Brown?
All set tonight. Enjoy the
Trustee
warm
Bills?
weather.
Get out to Deerfield Park. It's beautiful.
Trustee Smith?
All set. Thank you.
Treasurer Rice?
Have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. Nice.
Trustee Therian?
Thank you, Manager Stuhldreher, for that explanation. I think that's going to be very helpful. Even though our discussion on the Planning Commission was off to the left of the task at hand, it was very good. So, thanks.
And just a note from me, I'm flying back at our next meeting. I'm flying back that morning. It's due in Grand Rapids at 3:55, so I plan on being here, but
We'll see you.
we'll
Have
see.
fun. Have fun
Well,
at
thanks.
the concert.
Just wanted to give you a heads up. I may not be here, so. And with that, any motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Smith. Motion by Smith. I want to say co-support, but we'll say support by Brown. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. 7:46 p.m.
Was a nose.